Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Reacting Reddit. Today we're going to be talking about the weirdest, craziest crap that people have done, and it's going to be Jack narrating for you. We're going to have some other narrators showing up soon, so that's going to be pretty awesome. I'm going to be one of a few instead of the only one making these videos right now. Haha. This first reply is by Anal Apple. Once I was taking a shit in a public restroom, and I heard some weird noises. So I looked under the stool to check the feet of the dude next to me. I'm not sure why, I just did it to be safe. It turns out the dude next to me was also checking me at the exact same time I was checking him. It was so awkward as we made eye contact, nearly upside down by our underwear. I guess it was weird for both of us. Harambo's Dick Club says, I once walked into the toilets of a supermarket to see some old dude was just shaving his head using some electric clippers. Really confused me for a second. Hey, you gotta maintain that bold look. My old bus driver in middle school used to eat bananas with the peel on. She cut off the hard bits at the end and just went to town. Sometimes she'd eat the innards first, then eat the peeled peels. She said they were nutritious, but I think they're actually bad for you. Which Weighs Up says, I've done that before. I had 3 reasons for doing it. 1, the orange peel doesn't taste great, but the white part inside it is where most of the vitamin C comes from. 2, also because I didn't feel like peeling it and getting orange peel stuck under my fingernails. And 3, my siblings were awestruck and horrified every time they saw me bite into an orange and eat it whole. Worth it. Oh, that 3rd reason, that would be my whole reason. Pineapple Smells Good says, I gave my grandpa a boiled egg. He didn't even peel it. He broke it in half and started scooping it out to eat it like an avocado. That's pretty awesome. I want to try that at some point. Cut it. She just cut it with a knife while the shell's on it, I guess? Because that's what you do with an avocado, right? Oh, and the next reply is by our avocado. Girl sitting next to me in class was pushing mechanical pencil lead through her earpiece piercings, collecting the gross shit that came out the other side, and then eating it. I think she thought she was being discreet. I wish I was making this up. Yo, humans aren't that much different than the other primates, yo. Most of us, myself included, when we're alone and we don't know anyone's watching, we eat weird things, you know? Have you ever eaten a scab or a booger? Maybe you did it as a kid and then what society taught you not to. You know, you learned better, but your inherent human nature is to kind of eat parts of your body when they fall out. It's weird, I get it, it's weird, but you watch children and you see they do that all day. Their parents just teach them not to, but you know, you don't start out not doing it and learn not to. It starts the other way. It's food for thought. Vinter42 says, I was watching a mom and her son at a local grocery store. The kid was looking at the candy in the bulk section. He untwisted a wrapper and threw a piece of candy in his mouth. The mom told him to get the piece of candy out of his mouth or he would have to pay for it. The kid popped it back into the wrapper, twist the ends like it had never been opened, and threw it back in the bin. This is why I don't buy bulk candy. Whoa, that's next level. I never thought about that. I don't really eat candy from those things either, but that's hardcore. Scottish McLeish says, I once caught my brother snail position on the bathroom floor, covers in his own tear and shit. Basically, he was taking a shit, and he saw a spider on the floor and leaned over to try and get a closer look. This resulted in him falling over and crushing the spider with his cheek and hitting the floor and instantly shitting himself. He started crying and screaming. So I picked the bathroom lock and behold, the shit snail Oh God, poor kid. That sounds like a little kid thing. Kasa193 says, I was talking to a coworker outside on a smoke break behind the building. During a pause in our conversation, he deeply dug into his nose, pulled out a booger, and ate it while I was looking directly at him. I was like, dude, what the... You just ate a booger. And he was shocked and said, my bad, it's an old habit. It's a bad habit. I didn't know you noticed. While making eye contact, eats another booger. Ice Arrow says, the one semester I dormed, I had a roommate who just did weird stuff and was super inconsiderate. She'd come into the room and strip ass naked every time, regardless of who was in the room, then proceed to throw the contents of her dresser all over the room, trying to find something to wear. She would leave the door to our room wide open, and other people would come and steal stuff. I was in the shower once, and I came back in my towel to find her dad in our room a little after midnight. Apparently, she broke her laptop while I was in the shower, and he was fixing it, but she had no decency to come tell me. And she'd leave cheese and lunch meat in my fridge all semester, and it stunk. That's the kind of thing people build resentment about. It's not all the previous stuff. It's the leaving cheese in the fridge. Like, it's pretty funny. Booner999 says, the craziest, weirdest thing I ever saw people do. My God, my old roommate was the worst. I walked in on similar things. She was a hoarder, so my part of the room became her part as well. She used my shower curtain and my towels as toilet paper and refused to clean them. She dirtied up all my dishes and refused to wash them. Then she threw up on them at some point. She was very heavy set and would sit in the room naked on Skype with random chat room people while naked. She left porn magazines on my bed. I slept in the common room couch shortly after she was moved in due to the smell of porn magazines? I mean, even if someone comes on a porn magazine a lot, I mean, I imagine it would like dry out or something. They must be referencing something else, like the person's bodily smell. The porn, I guess that, yeah, they're not referencing that the porn magazines smell. Sounds like a smelly person in general. For what it's worth, I'm a smelly person. People tolerate my bullshit though. She used to cook this nasty-ass sausage spaghetti sauce with pineapple that you could smell from miles away. Well, this person sounds kind of hateful. I mean, now, okay, I understood up to this point, but now they're hating on her cooking. And I mean, if she's brazen enough to put sweets with, you know, meat, and that actually sounds pretty good. Like, you ever had pineapple pizza? Well, if you play RuneScape, it's one of the best healing items in the game for a reason, because everybody in real life loves pineapple pizza. And this person's saying sausage spaghetti sauce covered with pineapple. They're describing pineapple pizza, so I don't like this person. They're just a shit talker. I contacted the school about how bad she was and how I was having to do without food because she kept eating all of mine. It turns out she had been moved from dorm to dorm because of her nasty habits, and we were the only dorm with room available. They told me to write my name on my food with a Sharpie. Shortly after, I found empty boxes with my name on it in her room. I won the shit lottery and I was SOL. My mom and my brother, who was 13 at the time, came to visit, and my poor little bro walked in on her, ass naked in the bedroom, and trying to cover up her hide, she just maintained eye contact with him. God, I could go on all day about how bad this situation was. You know, it's funny because it kind of, like, the other person, yeah, they sound like they're an asshole, but they also kind of sound like they don't really have that many body image issues. If they're just openly naked, they're openly leaving porn and masturbation stuff, and they're a female, like, I mean, I'm sure that this person probably did have some redeeming qualities. It sounds like Booner999 just really, really, really hated them and is focusing on absolutely everything. This isn't an answer of like, oh, this is, something weird that somebody did, or I saw somebody do something weird. This is just an opportunity for this person to talk shit about somebody in their past, and they're not saying it in a polite way or even answering the original question. They're just bitching and moaning about an old roommate. The Unapologist says, I was downtown once and I saw a man eating a whole rotisserie chicken off of a baby changing station in a men's bathroom, straight out of the little clear plastic tray that they came in, with his hands. The guy didn't look homeless or anything either. What the fuck? Texie says, I went to the restroom at a friend's house, and I came back fairly quickly because they had no toilet paper, and I had to ask. I caught him making out and humping, quite frankly, with the pants lowered to his knees, his dinosaur plushie. It was about his size at the time, and he told me afterwards that he calls it dino cuddling, and that it's one of his favorite things to do. We must have been around 8 or 9 by then. Yeah, I stopped going to that dude's house. He's locally known cringy rapper now, too. What's up with this? I don't know. Like, okay, kids doing weird crap, especially related to sexuality. Like, I guarantee you, every one of you listening to this, you have some embarrassing shit you did as a kid that nobody saw you do and you just didn't get in trouble, right? Same thing with this poster. And I really hate it when people just, they just, like, talk about other people like they're fucking crazy when, we all are a bit like that, aren't we? We all hump dinosaurs sometimes. Rebel Nature says, I looked out of my window to see our neighbor, whom had been thrown out by his girlfriend, stripping off in protest of her throwing him out. I don't know why he felt the need to undress. It was in the middle of December, and he was just standing outside her house, yelling in his underwear, until she came out and threw water on him. I have photos if anyone is interested in seeing them. Edit. Pre-nakedness. Naked post-drink pouring. Contemplating decisions. Realizing. I'd forgotten what had happened since it was a few years ago, but just found out what I had told my friend had happened. Okay, so from what I heard, his little girl had had a fever and she was panicking, and he got mad at her, the mom girlfriend, and put his hand around her throat and said he was going to kill her. Then she threw him out. That was a couple weeks ago. But today she had some other dude over there, and dude 1 found out and came running down the street, yelling and banging on the door, and then the 2 guys had an argument. And Jonathan took off, so she came out looking for him, and then she started throwing his stuff out, and Jonathan came back, and they were arguing outside, so we were watching. Then they saw us watching, and she flipped us off, and Jonathan stripped off and sat outside. Then she threw water over him and went inside. Then she eventually let him back inside. That sounds so classic. Oh my God. That's not so weird, though. That's just like what it looks like when a relationship isn't healthily communicating and things escalate and people have anger issues. It's actually quite common. You could argue that that's more common than weird for a relationship. These really aren't answering the whole what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen question very well. White Simon says, not me, but my brother. He was walking around downtown one day after heading over the bridge, and as he walks by, a homeless guy yells, "Hey! Check out the squirrel I've been jerking off to. I'm not going to stop jerking off, but do you want to check it out?" My brother just kept walking by. Okay, yeah, see, there you go. Weird. He's not demeaning the homeless guy. He's just quoting a direct thing that supposedly a homeless guy said. Yeah, that definitely sounds drug-induced. I'm gonna judge there, but I've seen people in the street I've literally witnessed people inject heroin and then say stuff like that and get like randomly horny, and they just sound like deliriously happy about anything they talk about, and sometimes they're like amused by that because they can tell that they shouldn't be that happy by it, but they're amused by everything because they're on intense amounts of heroin. So I could see the person being like, yeah, I'm jerking off because I'm horny or whatever, and I'm on a drug, and also I'm gonna fuck with this stranger. Yeah, I'm gonna tell him I'm jerking off, and then look at this squirrel, man. Yeah, that's totally how they act. I mean, seems normal for that this kind of lifestyle. I'm not saying all homeless people are like that. I've spent some time with homeless people. I shadowed a homeless couple for like 16 hours once. I just followed them throughout their entire day just so I could learn about it, and they were like on board, and I just kind of hung out and talked to them, and they told me. It was pretty cool. Basically, they panhandled, went to a different panhandling spot, almost got an argument with some other homeless people, and then they got some money, and the guy liked panhandling to get money, and the girl liked buying drugs for other people to get money. She felt like she was above panhandling. She didn't like to panhandle. But the guy loved panhandling. So they would kind of take shifts. And the guy who liked panhandling, he was outside this grocery store, and I was like sitting in the bush. I wasn't like panhandling with him. I was just hanging out. And I was talking to his girlfriend because I was like, hey, what if I get you guys like a meal or something, and we can talk, and I want to learn, like, what's your life like? What led you to be here? All this kind of stuff. I was trying to just listen. I wasn't really talking to them about anything. But in their cases, it was totally heroin addiction. Like, mostly with the guy, they were a homeless couple that had kind of met in their homelessness, and their love for each other gave them kind of meaning. Basically, you could tell even when they were on like drugs, because that's basically what they did. They panhandled in the morning, and then had to spend like half the day doing that and trying to get some money, and then walking to an area to purchase more drugs, using like 80 to 90% of the money on that, and then maybe getting some food or something and finding a place to get the tent. What's crazy is I actually met them because I was playing a Pokemon game, and I liked like going outside and going to these random places, and I would just like go climb a tree and play Pokemon in the tree or something. And so I was in Wheeling, West Virginia, in this bridge, like one of those big interstate bridges that a highway crosses a river on, right? I was underneath it, like inside the rafters, not near the road or anything, like way below it. And I saw these people just like come out of the woods. And then they started bringing all this shit out of the woods, and I was like, what are they doing? And so I like talked to them, and they had a tent set up, but the police told them they had to move, because that's basically what the police do to the homeless people. They're like, oh yeah, you have this tent, you don't have a house. Well, you can't have this tent here. Go find a new place for your tent so we can repeat this process. Good luck, dude. Bye. That's, a lot of the police don't want to really spend that much time dealing with homeless people, especially in like the cities and stuff. It's like they don't view it as like a priority unless they're violent and that kind of thing. So yeah, just saying, it's a stereotype, but it's also a reality. Homelessness is it's an intense lifestyle. Definitely, you have to work a lot to maintain it, especially if you're also maintaining a drug addiction. And it's not as simple as, like, there's a lot of evidence that if you just give people who are homeless money, but they haven't resolved the kind of things in their life or the habits or the energies that are causing them to have a state of homelessness, they often end up reverting back to that homelessness state. And there's actually some people who prefer it that way, believe it or not. Some people really are so fed up with society, they don't want to have anything to do with it, and they are happy to just go live somewhere. A lot of homeless people do have drug addictions. That's definitely kind of part of it. Basically, like if you're sober and a homeless person, you tend to kind of work your way out of it. Whereas if you dabble too much in alcohol and drug addiction, then you tend to end up staying there a lot longer, basically. Granted, these are generalizations, and don't judge these people. Like, you shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be like, no, I don't judge homeless people. But if you don't talk to them, look, like, the reality is, I was able to follow 2 people, and they told me all these intimate details about their lives, purely because I was listening to them, and they're not used to being listened to because they're bums and homeless people, and nobody fucking cares about them, and people don't want to talk to them. People feel ashamed to just even be next to them, and it makes it a lot harder for them. And as a society, we could do a lot more to be more inclusive of people. and particularly in the United States, that's the place I have the most experience with as a society, we're not inclusive of people. And it's very ironic considering that the United States was formed by, people who wanted religious freedoms and wanted all these things. And meanwhile, every day our children in school swear to a god on them every morning of class, and there's one dominant religion, there's persecution, there's all the things that the United States wanted to avoid. It's a sad story, All right, thanks for watching. I think that's it. I have to keep these at 20 minutes, and we're at 20 minutes. Awesome. So yeah, I just ended in that tangential thing about other stuff. Anyway, I'm glad that I went on the rant at the end of the video, because that means none of you heard it. All right, so if you want to reach out to us, or if you want more kind of content like this, please show your support by liking the video, watching another video of ours, subscribing to the channel, or the holy grail, sending us an email and saying hello so we can talk to your face. Zoom calls and stuff, people love doing that shit, and we want to find more people who want to use our software tools, so maybe that's you. Reach out. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Check out another video. See you next time. Ciao.